Thanks for staying with us. If there is one thing that many Nigerians can agree on as the 2023 presidential election inches closer, it is that the poll will not be a two-horse race between the governing All Progressives Congress and Nigeria's main opposition, the People's Democratic Party. Labour Party and the New Nigeria People's Party seem to be matching the APC and the PDP stride for stride, signaling a tough presidential context next year. Now, joining me is a spokesperson of the NNPP Kwankwaso Presidential Campaign Council, Ladipo Johnson. He joins me from Abuja studio. Good to have you join us. Can you hear me? I just want to be sure that you can hear me, Ladipo Johnson.
Yes, it wasn't too clear, but I can hear you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Let's start with the very big story coming from your party, or development coming from your party, before we get to your campaign. You lost a very, in quotes, what Nigerians would call a big fish, like a strong member of your party to the PDP, former Governor Shekarau. Give us an insider explanation as to what exactly played out. He has given his side of the story, but what exactly played out?
Well, quite unfortunately, the party had taken in Governor Shekarau when the APC had virtually thrown them out. He came into the party with his members and he was given a senatorial ticket. It seems now that there was some form of misunderstanding. He had requested, amongst other things, 31 members of the House of Assembly out of 40, and made requests for House of Representative seats as well. We had spoken to himself and Senator Kwankwaso, and they had reached an understanding. But it seems that for some reason or the other, he had an offer from the People's Democratic Party, which he has taken up, and he has used the whole situation as a sort of excuse and everything. We've thrashed this out over the past week, and I, as the NNPP, do not want a situation when it seems as if we will be casting aspersions. We respect Senator Shekarau. We wish him well in his new endeavors. And we know on our part that Kanu will still be delivered to our party. And we have 6 months to continue to build on our momentum, not just in Kanu, but around the entire country. So yes,
I want to just
he has left the party, but we keep moving on. And sorry?
Yeah, I want to jump in quickly. You talked about the fact that agreement was reached between Kwankwaso and Shekarau. What agreement was reached?
No. When I say agreement, I'm trying to take what Governor Shekarau said and try to build on it and not try to cut him down in any way.
And I totally understand that, but
he
you
came,
said,
made some requests,
he
and there was...
Just a minute, you said he requested 31 seats. But from what you said, it seemed as though that was not going to be possible. But another agreement was reached. I just want to know what that agreement was.
No, he requested House of Assembly, House of Reps. And I believe that on our part, we were like, look, at this stage, we have people who have taken forms and are preparing or have prepared for primaries and everything. We claim we are a new Nigeria People's Party. It is not easy to just tell people who are already working towards their campaign that you have to step down, you have to do this, you have to do that. And so I believe Senator Kwankwaso was like, look, we will work at it. This is possible now. And if and when, because if we come together, we're certain we will win Kanu. We will do this, that with appointments. But unfortunately, that time has not come. That time did not come before he took the decision he took. And that is why we said, well, we wish him well. We don't want to turn it into an argument, back and forth argument.
The accusations that the Kwankwaso camp of the NNPP seems to be the dominant camp within that party, with little or no room for any other caucus within the party. I just want you to respond to that.
Sorry, could you repeat that, please?
There are accusations that the Kwankwaso camp of the NNPP seems to be the dominant force or the dominant camp of that party, with little or no input from any other camp or associates in that party.
No, that cannot be true. If you remember, the NNPP is an existing party. It's 21 years old, and there were people in the NNPP. It had members, and we came into the party. The Kwankwaso movement came into the party. Yes, it is a formidable movement. It's a big movement. But there were people there. There was a group called the TNM as well that came in, and there are people from different parties as well. So I don't think that we could accuse the Kwankwaso group of being the ones taking everything without others getting involved. Yes, they might be the dominant party, dominant partner, as you said, especially in Kanu. But I don't think that you would let go of a senatorial seat if you were not accommodating, and some House of Reps seats as well. Because Governor Shekarau had some sitting members of the House of Reps who had been accommodated. So that is not the case. We're trying to build consensus, build a party with people from other parties as well, to ensure that we're ready to take our message to Nigerians come September 28th and win an election in February and March next year.
There are those who say that, look, you do not stand a chance in terms of winning the presidency, that your best chance was to win Kano, when it and especially because of the collaboration between Kwankwaso and Shekarau. And now that he has left for the PDP, that you might have also lost that opportunity. And so you might not make any substantial gain in this election. How do you respond?
Well, I think that people are free to say whatever they choose to say. People say all sorts of things. They tell you that he's stepping down for this person, he's stepping down for the other person. But, you know, it's precious. What you must look at is that Kwankwaso seems to be the common denominator here. When people were talking about a possible vice president for Peter Obi, they needed someone very strong in the north. They mentioned Kwankwaso. When they were talking about someone to help the candidate of the APC in the north, they're talking about Kwankwaso. If he only has Kanu, would they be saying that? So I'm not ready to start to argue about that. All I'm saying is go into the field, look at the momentum in the Northwest, the Northeast, and even the North Central. He was in Nasarawa about a week and a half ago, and people saw what happened to open offices. The campaigns haven't started. And the momentum is building. And I know that by September, end of September, when campaigns begin, people will begin to see that this is a man who is seen by the masses, especially those in the North, as a person to be trusted, as a person who has fought for them, who has been at the forefront of human capacity development in the country. And so we're looking forward to the campaigns, and I'm sure that the narrative will change by November, December. If we have this conversation by that time, it will be totally different.
But it's interesting you mentioned Peter Obi of the Labour Party, because it would almost seem as though, because that merger, because there was a merger that was supposed to happen between NNPP and the Labour Party, it almost seems as though because that merger did not happen, that your party almost has lost, I don't want to use the word relevance, maybe it's mojo. It has almost gone really silent. And that it also almost seems as though you now place, because when NNPP started, people thought that was a party to rival the PDP and the APC. But you almost now place fourth. One can easily say that Peter Obi is now ahead of your presidential candidate.
Well, if you think that the social media is where the elections will be held, I know it is important, then you might be right in your contention. Those who asked Peter Obi to approach Kwankwaso know the reason why. Because they felt, yes, he might do very well in the southeast and the south-south and maybe parts of Lagos. But they felt they needed someone who would sway the masses in the north. And there's a common denominator. That person is Rabi Musa Kwankwaso. Now, the supporters of Peter Obi were very good on Twitter, and they kept tweeting about the so-called marriage. But unfortunately, it didn't happen because of several reasons. Now, if they now turned against him for that reason, good luck to them. But the work Kwankwaso has been doing for many years, and which we're still doing, is at the grassroots level. And we've been working on that, and we've been working with the masses. So as I keep saying, there will be a time just before the elections where all these things will begin to show, when you're allowed to go out in the public and campaign openly. It will show, and then we will know who is ahead and where. There is nothing wrong with any party being very strong in a particular part of the country and trying to move to other parts of the country. The same can be said. If you go to the core north, if you go to the core north, you won't see them talking about the Labour Party or about its candidates the way they talk about Kwankwaso. So if we have that problem or that situation in the South, then it behoves on people like myself and those who are in the NNPP in the South to do more work in the last 6 months before the elections. And we realize that we have to do that. But we are confident of the fact that we have the momentum, we're building the momentum, and we have the strength, the population to push ahead.
Mr. Ladipo Johnson, for once, it's good to hear a member of your party admit that this has been, he has more regional relevance and more than or popularity than he has had national popularity. But let me ask you, is Kwankwaso still in this race? Is he in it to the end, or he's basically just building some sort of grassroots movement? Just a minute. Or he's basically building a grassroots movement that he can use as a bargaining chip with any other presidential candidate?
Definitely not. We have said it time without number. For the umpteenth time, let me say it, and I hope we put it to rest today. Senator Kwankwaso has no reason to step down for any of the other candidates. I make bold to say that he is better qualified than they all are for the office of President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He's been at the Federal House of Reps as Deputy Speaker, Constituent Assembly, two-time governor, member of the board of the NDDC, senator, and many other things. No one else has the experience that he has in the legislature and the executive arm out of those we're talking about. He has his team, he's building his momentum, and he's going all the way. We are going all the way. If we wanted to negotiate in the sense that you're referring to, he would have jumped at the opportunity to be vice president to Peter Obi. But in many ways, it couldn't have happened, because in the same way that Peter Obi had some people in the eastern part of the country that feel he must contest, Kwankwaso has so many people who would have been so disappointed if he had said he wasn't going all the way. So please, let us put that aside. We are contesting this election from beginning to end. We believe that we have a path to the presidency, and we will seek to take that path.
And we're watching what that path is, and then we're also watching, because now in Kano State, it seems like the battle, as it were, of the three strong men of Kano, and that's Shekarau, Kwankwaso, and Ganduje himself. And we're also watching how that development will play out.
Thank you so much. There are no three strong men in Kano.
Let's see how that will play out. Mr. Ladipo Johnson, spokesperson of the NNPP Kwankwaso Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.